This episode is sponsored by NerdGeese. Support our show using code GamingSanity for a 10% discount.
Hello everybody and welcome back to Gaming Sanity's E3 Prediction Show Part 2. I'm your host Mr. Black alongside Asian Jesus as always. Now Matthew, we are moving into Sony now. This is going to be very interesting because quite frankly Sony have got pretty much nothing coming out this year now that Uncharted 4 has been kiboshed.
Yeah.
But I think what we will see, let's start off. I think we're going to get to see Uncharted 4. Like a more enhanced version of what we saw on the PlayStation experience.
Yeah.
Very excited.
Well, the footage from last year. Oh my god.
Well, that was pre-alpha.
Yes.
So
they planned that fall through the floor.
Yeah.
So.
Now, moving along from that, and I think obviously in tandem, we're going to get the Uncharted collection, which was revealed this week. 1080p, 60 frames a second, remasters of Uncharted 1, 2 and 3, and also you get the Uncharted 4 multiplayer beta. Now, just to point out to people, Uncharted 2 and 3's multiplayer is not included in this, it's just a pure single player campaign, so I think they're sort of offsetting that disappointment with the fact that we'll get the multiplayer beta for Uncharted 4.
Mm.
But to be honest, you don't really, as good as the multiplayer is in Uncharted, you don't generally turn up for the Uncharted games, do you? For the multiplayer.
No,
It's more a story
again,
game,
like
and then-
Last of Us, you rock up for the story, and yeah, I mean to be honest, it's like I don't know how much of the Last of Us multiplayer is even being used anymore. So, there really wouldn't be much point in having all these HD redos and keeping the multiplayer in it. Especially when you got Uncharted 4 coming out. I mean that
Absolutely.
You got to go through the busy time later in the year for all those multiplayer games anyway. So it's something like Uncharted, the multiplayer will die off fair quick. So
No, I'm absolutely getting the Uncharted games again. More than happy to get on the bandwagon.
I will actually be getting the Uncharted games.
Yeah, it's been a while since I played a lot of them, and I've still got them on my PS3 shelf. But 1080p, 60 frames a second. They're also the company doing it as well. Are the guys who did the Metal Gear HD remasters, the God of War ones. So they are, pretty much the best studio you can get for doing remasters. So I'm very much looking forward to those. I mean, it's going to be great to hear that intro music again, the familiar Uncharted music. Get back on board with Nathan Drake. You know what? I might actually finish those at Christmas, when I'm off at Christmas, and sit down and have a good festival. Now, one game we will be seeing as well that is coming out this year is Until Dawn. Do you remember that horror game we saw last year at Gamescom and at the PlayStation Experience with Hayden Panettiere? You know, that one where it's kind of like a schlocky B movie. You've got multiple characters that could all die at certain points, so you've got to keep them all alive to get the best ending. Looks quite interesting. I get the feeling it's a bit sort of like Heavy Rain or, one of those games. It's going to be more pressing things than actually doing anything.
I remember the footage. It really was the tale of the towel that never fell off.
yeah, exactly. I mean, look, as good as it looks and as cool as it looks, I mean, I think that as a full price game, I'm not entirely sure. I'm not sold on that as a full price game, to be honest.
I mean, that could be
I don't think
episodic.
there'll be enough there. I mean, I know they're going for replayability out there,
Yeah.
the multiple endings and the multiple people can die and so forth. I can see what they're going for, but I'm not entirely sure that's going to be.
It does just feel like a Telltale Games kind of thing. It's not a full budget production, but at the same time, it's just one of those offside things. They're actually very good. But
we've been working on this though. This was originally a PS3 game. This has been worked on for a long time. Is this?
Hmm.
They've had to redo it for the PS4 because obviously It's taken far too long. I mean, I can see what they're going for, but I'm just not entirely sold on it as a game. If you know what I mean.
You get that Alan Wake vibe out of it.
Yeah.
Where it's
I mean, I might get it. I mean, it might be hilarious. It might be unbelievable. It might be complete shite.
Well, to be honest, I think we'd have to play that game as a comedy.
Yeah, I think we would. I think we would. Now, one thing I think we are going to get, and I think the hints of the God of War 3 remaster appearing, is that we're going to get the God of War game shown for the first time, the new one.
Mm.
You know, they said last year that this was happening. I think this is the big time to show it, because obviously Sony have not got a great deal coming out this year in terms of first-party exclusives. I mean, I think they're gonna sort of back that up with people wanting to get on board, and like I know they've got a deal with Star Wars Battlefront, and obviously the Destiny deal is going to continue. Rumours are that Black Ops is coming over to PlayStation with the exclusivity on the maps and all this other stuff. So there's ways and means they can get around this. I mean, there's rumblings as well of Fallout 4 DLC is going to be first on PS4 as well. So there's ways and means they can get around it, but I think if they bring out one of the big guns like God of War and they sort of say, yeah, this is going to be happening, I think people will be excited. Also as well, I think we're going to get No Man's Sky a release date. I think that's going to happen.
Yeah, because that's been...
Yeah, go on.
Well, that's been sitting up in the wings for quite a while now, so...
It's incredible. Incredible
Oh,
looking game.
It's an absolutely fantastic game, and it's taken a hell of a lot of work, but it's just been on the horizon for so long now. So, yeah.
I mean, the rumours are right, it's going to come out this year, and I would suspect that because it was originally going to be a download game, and I'm suspecting now that
it's a full...
Sony have announced a few weeks ago that they're treating this as a first-party game now. This is like one of their games.
Yeah.
And I suspect that they may actually make it a boxed version as well, which is what I want. I mean, I'd love to have a boxed version of this game, like with the soundtrack and stuff. And
oh, yes.
like this really funky box, it'd be amazing. Because the soundtrack sounds unbelievable. Now, hopefully, we're going to get that indie game shown again. You know, it looks a bit like Shadow of the Colossus called Rime. Do you remember seeing that?
Oh, yes.
Like a dude running on a beach and stuff.
Mm.
I'm hoping we get to see that. That's got to be due out this year. Now, for some rampant speculation in terms of Sony, there are massive rumours that one of the games that we have known about and that we spoke about in our Christmas end of the year show is Red Dead 2.
Mm-hmm.
Now, people will say to me, "Oh, Rockstar don't turn up at E3." Of course they don't. But last year at E3, we got to see Grand Theft 5 premiered on the next gen at Sony's press conference, and I would not be surprised if we get a trailer for Red Dead 2.
Oh yeah, I mean,
it may even be the thing where they're at the end of this. Oh yeah, there's just one more thing that we have.
It's
and, the familiar Western music will come on, and there it'll be.
I mean, I reckon
for our eyes to behold.
They'll do a bit more chatter of what they could be adding in with GTA in the future, because they still are adding more stuff as they go. They'll probably sit there and go, "This is what we plan on adding into it," and it's all pointing towards Red Dead, as we wildly speculated.
Well, we didn't wildly
half a year ago.
There's very serious information behind our speculation, but interestingly enough as well, like 3 weeks ago, there were massive amounts of job listings found about San Diego for an online game that's got multiplayer elements, that's an open world game, that's I wonder what that could be. Wonder what that is.
Well, we're just gonna get fucked over with the Warriors too, aren't we?
Yeah, it's not going to be the Warriors too. I've some very good information, as you know.
Oh yes.
Go back and listen to our pre-Grand Theft shows, people, and look at when we knew about things before the magazines. That's all I'm going to say on that particular piece of glory. But yeah, absolutely. I think they'll end with that. I think that'll be... We'll probably get Red Dead 2. I think that's going to be a nice way to end that show. Now, moving along to one of our favourite developers at the moment in terms of awesome games and futuristic games as well, Square Enix. Now, Deus Ex is going to be there, isn't it? We saw initial screenshots from that game. We saw that fantastic CGI trailer. We're continuing the story of Adam Jensen. My God. how fucking awesome did that game look?
Oh, it's just Deus Ex. Human Rev was a speechless game, and this one is just like the cinematic that they released this year. That literally just jumped you straight back in. You were just wanting to get back in Jensen's feet.
Oh god, yeah.
It was literally just yes, let's get on the hype train. You just needed to be. You need to be.
Well, the thing was right. Deus Ex was such a great follow-on to what had gone before.
Yeah.
But now they can do so much more with it, couldn't they?
But
Bigger levels.
It's done on
more
itself
powers.
so well for people that aren't familiar with it, and now we're kind of moving into the flesh of what made the original Deus Ex. It's good.
Yep.
So, I mean,
Totally starts. I mean, the graphics engine looks unbelievable. You know, the scope of that game now that we're travelling we're going worldwide, going to Eastern Europe, various other places. So much more scope to develop that rich narrative, that rich world. You know, you got a lot of that story from that game, from the world and the little interactions with computers and things. You know what I mean? And it was fantastic, and I love that colour palette as well. That sort of golden black style that game had. You know, I mean, it even made me laugh when I was hacking into computers and there was emails from Nigerian people wanting money from you. Hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot of it. I mean, some of the side quests and that, it just became like a lot of the time it became like a noir detective thing as well. Yeah. That just it was just.
I love that mission where you had to storm the police headquarters. Yes. That was amazing.
And it was literally you just end up in like these apartment rooms and you just you got Jensen just mumbling to himself.
Possibly one of the worst actors in the world is Jensen as well.
Yes, but at the same
Clint Eastwood type robot.
I enjoyed it. I just went, this is what he's going with.
I remember writing the review I did of the game at the time, right? This is for MediaNation.co.uk, and I actually put in the review, Adam Jensen sounds like some sort of robot Clint Eastwood. Now, I'm not sure if this is on purpose to sort of show that he's a robot. Do you know what I mean? With his acting. Yeah, I wasn't sure. Or whether he was just shit. I wasn't entirely sure.
I just take the character as he goes, kind of thing. If he is just like got this weird detective Clint Eastwood to him, and to be honest, as much as you could say it's crap acting, it's a nice charm. It's a good charm to him, kind of thing. He's just so like out of place as a character. So.
He had some cool stuff as well. Some shades and all these other things. I wasn't sure if it was like trying to reflect his transition to a machine.
It's a grumpy old man in a machine in a wonderful young techno world. Okay.
Yeah, we'll find that out. Still drinking brandy with his robot arms and various other stuff, doing some fine work. Now,
usual fascination with Icarus.
For definite is Tomb Raider, but we've already had a quick chat about that. I think Square Enix will show a different sort of level on their presser. I can't see them being denied the fact that they're bringing out Tomb Raider. I think, obviously Final Fantasy 15 is going to be there. You have different feelings to me on this game. I'm sure you watched the video though and got some context of that.
No, I didn't.
That is an amazing departure for that series, and I think that game is going to be something special. We've just got the update as well this week. I will do a playthrough it probably next week. There's new bosses and new things in there, so I'll be the graphics have been updated and the frame rate's better, so I'm going to be very interested to see how that pans out. This is one for Welsh Gerrant as well now. Kingdom Hearts 3 will absolutely be shown, in my opinion. I think that's going to be completely there. Not been a fan of the Kingdom Hearts games myself. You know, going around beating people up with a big key and a lot of Disney characters. Yeah, it's not really for me. But I know there's a massive legion of fans out there for that game. Though.
I did like the first one. I did enjoy the first one. But other than that, it's there's nothing compelling me to go back to it. There's nothing compelling me to get into the newer ones. It's just it was good as a kid.
It's something that's passed me by completely, to be honest.
But at the same time, it does sit on that structure where they will work it over a good amount of years, and the fans that stick by it absolutely adore it. I mean, there's very little complaints that come out of
like
each game.
Super passionate fans, yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and I mean a massive audience base. But again, for both of us,
that game,
it's just something not for us.
Shift millions of copies. Yeah, they'll get like 7 million sales out of that minimum. Easy.
So, yeah.
Big game in Japan as well. And also, Square Enix have said there's going to be a completely new game that none of us know about. Now, recently, because I got the Final Fantasy 15 demo, there was a questionnaire that they shipped out to the people. And it said, what games would you like to see brought back? Now, on that list, well, there was a litany. Chrono Trigger from the Super Nintendo. I'd love to see that redone in Akira Toriyama's original drawings. Vagrant Story from the PS1, one of those legendary RPGs. There were a number of Final Fantasies on there, but I didn't bother ticking them. I ticked Vagrant Story, Chrono Cross, Chrono Trigger, and Front Mission was on there as well. So basically, I just sort of, there was like a thing for comments at the bottom. I just put in, you need to bring back out Chrono Trigger, Front Mission, and a new Dragon Quest game as well. As well as Vagrant Story. But I just put in like massive capitals, I need Vagrant Story, because that was an unbelievable world. Unbelievable world. I've got the design works of that game, I've got all sorts. The whole world building they did with that was a great, unbelievable game. You know, one of the last great PlayStation RPGs came out in 2000. Yeah. Interesting commentaries as well on religion and how it affects the world and all these other things, which was never done before in a video game up until that point. So massive kudos for them for that. What would you like to see them bring out of those games?
Oh, I'm definitely going to have to go over with Chrono and Front Mission. It's like you say, you say there's a whole list of Final Fantasies, and to be honest, Final Fantasy...
we don't need any of them.
Final Fantasy makes me come out in a rash, and to be honest, like...
I'd love a new Front Mission. I'd love an awesome new Front Mission, and that'd be amazing.
Oh, yeah. Like, with Square Enix, when they work on something that isn't Final Fantasy, and they have a bit more of a dabbling with freedom.
Yeah, they usually start innovating instead of being followers.
Yeah, they can come up with some fantastic stuff when they leave Final Fantasy alone. Because I'm not, for me, I just don't deal with Final Fantasy.
Final Fantasy should come out every 5 years. Yeah, that's what it should be, in my opinion. And I like the fact that they've done this new one with this new director who did Type 0 on the PSP, which is more of an action game. You know, they're moving away.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I don't like the K-pop stuff, and I don't like the characters. I would have much preferred Final Fantasy 15 to have been like Final Fantasy Type 0, where it was more a serious storyline about the consequences of war. Not this sort of slight emo punk band thing. But apparently the story of Final Fantasy 15, as I've been corrected from one of our listeners from last time, is going to be more of a serious mafia storyline type thing going on. So, but I can't say that because I had no context in the demo, so I do apologise for my possible rash views. But I would like to see a more serious storyline. But the two games I would like to see is Vagrant Story or a Front Mission. And obviously feel free to do a remake of Chrono Trigger anytime you want, because that is one of the great RPGs of our lifetime. Now, moving along, last but not least, in terms of our major developers, and then we will get onto wild speculation at the end, is Nintendo. Now, Nintendo have been beavering away with the Wii U. They've announced the new NX platforms coming. They've also announced going into this E3 that Zelda's not going to be there. Now, you remember how everybody lost their shit last year when Zelda was shown for the first time? Mm-hmm. I included in that. I mean, it looked unbelievable. But the rumours are out now. Oh, maybe Zelda's gonna go the way of the Twilight Princess. It was developed for the GameCube, but also was a release game for the Wii. Is the new Zelda going to be, a release game on the NX? Let's hope not. But we'll see. Now, what we are confirmed to be there, and this brings a massive swelling to my heart, one of my favourite shooters from the N64, and also the remake on the 3DS, and also its original on Super Nintendo, is Star Fox. What an amazing game that is. Now, Shigeru Miyamoto, the legend of game design, has been overseeing this himself. I'm expecting big things from this. I think Nintendo are going to be leading with this, aren't they? Are you excited about a new Star Fox, Matthew? No.
Well,
Right, so
I
basically,
just-
there's no point in having a conversation with you about any of this.
When you just went, here we go, Nintendo. I'm literally just looking at my cigarettes,
Listen,
going, well, I'm
you-
going to be
you
here
are
for a
a
while.
disgrace.
You are going to be rambling off for the next few minutes. I can sit here.
You're a
have
disgrace if you don't like Nintendo, right? They make some of the great games of our time, I'll tell you. They do.
Yeah, no, I do like Nintendo. But these last couple of years, I really have just not been drawn into
Well,
them.
of course you haven't. The fact is, right, and we had this conversation, didn't we, the other week, they need a more powerful system.
Yeah.
Don't they? They do.
And I mean, this is why it's like I'm really not compelled by them because they've followed gimmicks for the last few years, and it's now that they're only getting their shit together. Like they're still making
now they
fantastic
realise,
games.
Hang on a minute. It's like Sony.
I've
got their head together. Hang on a minute. We need to start making games
Yeah,
for the people who buy our machine.
I've enjoyed watching the amiibo culture. Like I think
Yeah,
I think the
well,
amiibos.
yeah.
Like I
Oh,
think
man,
the
they've made
amiibos are
yeah,
probably
they've
one of the
made
best
shit ton of
marketing
money on them.
decisions they've ever done.
Yeah. Oh
Um,
god, yeah.
You know, it's like I've been looking at the business side of things for a while, but other than that, you know, I'm kind of like that guy who was complaining about the refrigerators. You know, he's just complaining about the stock meetings where he's just like, I want to hear about Nintendo's
Listen,
other stock.
They've made those amiibos very rare, and they have.
Yeah,
And that's why they've done it.
you know, but
You've got people losing their minds
Yeah.
over those things.
I've been more interested with like the business side and seeing the comings and goings and that over the last few years. Because I haven't been compelled to buy a Nintendo console. I did have the Wii, yeah, the original Wii. There we go. I'm gonna start sounding like Crichton from Red Dwarf. I'm trying to lie now, as you can see. Wii. No, I had the Wii, and I think I played all of about 4 games that consisted of Wii Sports.
This is
Dead
the same thing.
Space.
I remember I played Wii Sports and I think, look, the best games on the Wii were Mario Galaxy 1 and 2, the Zeldas, and all these other games that nobody played. Because everybody just bought into this whole, I can swing my arms around and
Oh no,
bowl.
because it was in the box. I played it because it was in the
Yeah.
box. I played Dead Space. I actually had the gun for
That
Dead
was a good
Space.
game. Yeah,
That was
the
fantastic.
the shooting one, yeah, it was awesome.
But what appealed to me was it was actually, you know, it was a Dead Space game. It was like a big name game at the time. And I was more intrigued because it was a brand I knew, which Nintendo tries to bring in at the start of each console.
No, what it is, it's
But
a
it's-
panic move from them
yeah.
because they realise that they've not got enough adult games. That's
Yeah,
why we got Man Hunt 2.
that's what I
on
mean.
there,
It's,
complete with Wii controls with sewing and various other things that you can do. I've still got that, you know, it's one of the most bizarre playthroughs of a game we could ever do, actually. We'll have to do a live commentary
Yeah.
of that, actually. Man Hunt 2 on the Wii. Brilliant.
Like effectively, this little panic switch is literally like. Imagine.
Well, the thing is, what it seemed like, it was gaming made by committee, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
no, it's a fat
It was
guy
like
having
somebody
a
in the boardroom
coronary
going, "Hang on, we've
and
not got
deciding
enough
he's
adult
going to
games
have to
here."
live healthy after,
Yeah.
you know, literally coming close to death.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah,
literally
it's the
decided,
same,
okay,
yeah,
I'm going to live
exactly.
healthy. That lasts about 2 weeks, and then he's out in the drive-through at McDonald's
Yeah.
ordering 2 Big Macs. That is it. It's like, we've got to have some adult games. We're going to focus more towards some of the adults. We're going to get the adults in. Who wants to be Mario? Let's all ride Yoshi. But I got to say, I am interested in Yoshi's Woolly World.
Yoshi's Woolly World looks amazing.
It
That's
looks-
next on the list, yeah,
it
love
looks
that.
adorable.
I mean, that amiibo as well. That amiibo is actually made out of wool, and that's like sold. That sold out in the UK
Yeah.
in like 5 hours.
It's
Just ridiculous.
So I have been looking at Nintendo, but I'm just
Now,
they're
let's
sorting
just
this
hang
shit
on,
out
let's
now.
move on.
They're in
so we've got
rehab.
Mario Maker, which is a very interesting game where you can make levels for Mario from Super Mario World, you know, all the way back.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting. I mean, that could be amazing. You know, we'll have to see. It just depends how easy the user interface is. They've said Zelda's not going to be, but I wouldn't be surprised if there is a trailer of Zelda. And also, there are a couple of games here that really need... that Nintendo, they always have something up the sleeve. Because they know this year we've got the new Xenoblade Chronicles RPG, which is already out in Japan, which is going to be a massive game. Probably not going to sell well, really. Depends, maybe a million people will buy that. I'm certainly buying it because it's going to be immense. But I think what they need is one of the big games to come out.
Mm.
Now, there's been rumblings on the grapevine that a Metroid's been in the works. Retro Studios, the guys who made the legendary Metroid Prime series and the Donkey Kong Returns games, have said they're going to be there with a game. I don't think they'll be going back over Metroid, but I wouldn't be surprised if they're doing F-Zero. And these are the two games that people have been asking for, and obviously Mario Kart DLC as well. Mario Kart 8 DLC. There's been these F-Zero tracks, and I'm wondering if they're just laying the ground for we're going to bring F-Zero back. And what a phenomenal game that is.
Mm.
I mean, that's like Wipeout on magic mushrooms. It's amazing.
Have you actually seen was it Wipeout Formula in development? I'm just going to bridge away because they've actually been working on that now. They've been scuttled off by Sony.
Well, I know there's recently in Resogun they've just released a load of spaceships that look like the Wipeout cars and stuff.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if Sony are beavering away on a Wipeout again. No, that wouldn't
Well,
surprise me. Yeah, but I know the Wipeout.
No, the actual the one they've got,
the
one they're doing is like Formula. Like, I think there is something in the name that has Formula. It was a while ago since I saw the
some Kickstarter.
the artwork. Yeah. I'm really keen to see what they can do with it. Because, I mean, it's their own project again, so it's just they were just scuttled. And, hey, I mean, I miss the old voiceovers for Oricom, Piranha System, Phaser. Actually, Nerdkeys has a whole heap of Wipeout shirts.
Wipeout changed the game in history, especially in the UK. That's when the nerds came out of the closets and ended up going to raves, and people were on a lot of ecstasy, loving it. So. That's how gaming became big.
Mm.
It transcended. It became popular culture then, didn't it?
Oh, yeah.
There were loads of raves I went to back in the 90s, and there were PlayStations outside.
I didn't ever get to go to any raves during the 90s, so I was a wee nipper.
Yeah.
Playing Grand Theft Auto in 1997. Yeah, 1997.
Well, you shouldn't have been. Anyway,
I shouldn't have been. No, absolutely not. There is no way I should be playing that game.
Outrageous.
Nah.
Now then, let's move into wild speculation. What do we think?
Wild speculation.
I think VR's going to be there. I think we'll get Morpheus. I wouldn't be surprised, if No Man's Sky is banded with Morpheus.
I reckon.
I don't think they'll do that, but I think they might say there's going to be an add-on for it or something, like a patch where it'll.
I can imagine.
It'll be Morpheus.
I can imagine Microsoft will be touting the Oculus as they have been over the last week or so.
Yeah.
They will be having a great time with it, and a lot of the questions with people going, why Oculus when you got your own project in the works? It's just like, well,
AR's different though to VR.
Yeah, like people have been questioning it. It's just like, well, they're actually two very different systems.
Yeah,
one that's got a terrible draw distance
in front of you. VR's more. You're sucked into that world.
So
and the thing is, as well, I mean, that's a great move for Microsoft as well. Like business-wise, the guys who own Oculus own Facebook. And then you've got Microsoft.
Let's hang on.
That's a bit of a juggernaut of business there.
The guys that own Oculus are Facebook.
Yeah.
Not own Facebook.
No, they are. No, they are. No, it's Facebook owns Oculus.
Yes,
that's
yes.
what it is.
So
the point is, what I'm getting at is, you've got two massive businesses there.
Well, Facebook and Microsoft they've been in and out with each other for years. So, I mean, like Microsoft have actually tried to keep with it, as they could probably say, with Facebook. Because you went through the whole thing with Outlook, where it was a lot of connectivity for the system. So, and of course, it's as much as the consoles don't see it anymore, this is like Microsoft have been doing the changes, and it's a big step. But Microsoft want Oculus to work on the games, and they aim to. They want to bring the PC market back.
It saves them
massively
as well. A lot of R&D.
Yeah,
because you've got the other guys doing it for you.
But
the thing they can offer, Facebook is the platform.
Yeah.
That's what they can offer them.
Yeah, it's like
it's a good move, mate.
Just
good
with
move.
Windows 10, like Microsoft know that their audience is prominently gamers now. That's why Microsoft, Windows 10 is so heavily focused towards gaming. It's not just the store; it's the small capture stuff they've got. They've integrated a lot of stuff that you have from the Xbox into Windows 10. So they literally want everything to be one and the same, and it's
one ring to rule them all.
Yeah, so you're going to get your Oculus. They're going to get a bit of the money. It goes back into their own systems. And you'll be jumping from the PC.
And this is the one. And this is the one that everybody's going to love. The Last Guardian's going to be at E3. Sony are going to reveal The Last Guardian. And there we are, after 10 years of development.
Has it been 10 years?
It's been 10 years, mate. It's been 10 years.
Shit. I was in school.
Now, the rumours are that Mark Cerny, the guy who developed the PS4 and all these other things, he was brought in to actually, because they were saying they had some technical problems. This was like 2 years ago. They said they'd have technical issues where the Last Guardian. Mark Cerny apparently has been overseeing it, and apparently this is going to be the year where we get to see the Last Guardian. This is the one. So there's my final piece of wild speculation. Here we are. This is it, the Last Guardian. Let's get that in you. Yeah, Shadow of the Colossus came out in 2005.
Jeez.
So let's put it in perspective.
I was still in UK at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was in France when that was released in Europe, which was in early 2006, and I got that version. So yeah.
Now I'm gonna have this. It's not really a wild speculation. It's, to be honest, a fantasy at gunpoint, where at Ubisoft, Troy Baker steps on the stage.
To become Splinter Cell.
To become Sam Fisher. It's not wild speculation. It will be happening. I will be threatening.
Well, Ubisoft have said they've got a new game early next year.
Yes.
So it's either going to be Rayman or Watch Dogs 2, in my opinion. I think it might be Watch Dogs 2.
Yeah, I think they're going to lay off Rayman for a bit now. Because they've had a good run.
Gone because Michel Ancel's gone to make his own studio. I know he's doing that crazy game we saw last year.
I mean,
Gamescom. Do you remember that crazy open world game he's doing for Sony, where you were in like giants and sheep and everything running around? It's really hard to describe.
Are we talking about Wales?
No. No, but you know what I mean. He's off doing his own thing now in his own studio, and I think legitimately we will get Watch Dogs 2. I think that would be the one.
Yeah, with actual reflections, hopefully.
But we'll see. Anyway, so we hope you're as excited for E3 as we are. Just remember to tune into our live shows that we'll be updating and posting. So it's goodbye from me.
And goodbye from me.